A man pounds on a locked steel door while something unseen drags screaming workers down a hallway behind him. The alarms begin too late. The power dies mid-scream. Hours earlier, a transport plane lands on a sunlit island built for one purpose: letting wealthy visitors hunt creatures the rest of the world tried to erase. The guests are greeted with smiles, expensive drinks, and a promise repeated everywhere on the island: nothing inside the fences can reach them. Among the arrivals are two loud thrill-seekers already joking about kill counts before they've even seen a target. One guest stays quiet. The woman with the burned scar watches the island tree lean like she expects something to step out of it. Nearby, a gray-stubbled veteran studies every guard tower and camera angle with silent calculation. That night, the island throws a celebration overlooking the ocean, a place where survival trauma is marketed as entertainment. Executives promise the creatures below are slow, controlled, and carefully contained. The crowd applauds like they've come to a sporting event. But one guest slips away from the music and laughter, moving alone through staff corridors no tourist should know about. Security cameras flicker for half a second. No one in the control room notices. Morning arrives with armored vehicles lined up like safari trucks waiting for hunters. The gates open slowly, revealing a vast field beyond the walls where hundreds of wandering figures move through tall grass. Some guests cheer. Others immediately raise rifles like they've waited years for this moment. The woman with the burned scar lowers her weapon instead. One of the wandering figures looks too human. A single shot cracks beside her. The veteran drops the target cleanly without hesitation. By sunset, the hunting party reaches a remote jungle camp meant to be completely outside the infected zones. Then something appears beyond the electric fence. A single infected figure stumbles toward the camp from the wrong direction. The guide insists it's impossible. The fences have never failed before. More shapes begin moving in the trees. Dozens now. All coming toward the same gap. The camp lights suddenly go dark, and the jungle fills with the sound of bodies running. Gunfire erupts in every direction as the first infected crash through the broken fence. What was supposed to be a controlled hunt instantly becomes a chaotic fight for survival. The thrill-seekers who laughed hours earlier now scramble onto the roof of the transport vehicle, shouting for anyone who can still climb. One guest slips in the mud beside the vehicle and disappears beneath a surge of grabbing hands. The veteran fires methodically, each shot clearing a narrow path through the swarm. For a moment the infected retreat into the trees, leaving the camp silent except for ragged breathing. For a moment the infected retreat into the trees, leaving the camp silent except for ragged breathing. Morning brings no rescue helicopters, no radio response, and a grim realization: the island has been sealed off. The guide studies a printed island map and finds one possibility: a communications relay with an underground route to the evacuation docks. The group leaves the camp on foot, stepping through tall grass littered with shell casings and dark stains. The veteran stops suddenly, raising a hand. Something moves beyond the ridge ahead. A former tour guide staggers over the hill, half of his uniform torn away. The guide hesitates for one fatal second. The veteran doesn't. They continue toward the relay station, the broken perimeter fence now visible ahead like a torn wound in the island. The transport vehicle that smashed the fence lies empty, its doors hanging open. The transport vehicle that smashed the fence lies empty, its doors hanging open. Halfway through the opening, the jungle erupts again with movement. The guide shouts for everyone to run, but something catches his leg before he can finish the sentence. The group drags him through the fence, but the bite is already deep. No one says what they're all thinking until the veteran quietly raises his weapon. The guide understands immediately and nods once. One shot echoes across the empty field. The group moves again without looking back. Hours later the communications relay rises from the jungle like a rusting tower of glass and antennas. Inside, the smell hits first. The floor is scattered with half-eaten bodies. The veteran motions for silence and leads them deeper through the building. They split into two groups to search faster for the underground access tunnel. In a side corridor, the activist woman finally admits she accessed the island's network the night before. She says she was trying to expose the island's operations, not collapse them. Someone else used her access point to upload the virus that opened every containment gate. Anger spreads through the group, but the veteran cuts the argument short with a single word: move. The underground access hatch lies at the far end of the building. Just as they reach it, screams echo from the opposite hallway. A swarm bursts through the doorway behind them. The activist woman stumbles while trying to reach the hatch ladder. The others climb down as she struggles to follow. A sudden scream echoes above the hatch. The hatch slams shut from the inside, sealing the tunnel. Silence returns in the underground tunnel except for distant pounding above. Now only 4 survivors remain. The tunnel leads deeper beneath the island, towards something far hotter than the outside air. Rows of locked cages appear ahead, filled with unmoving bodies. Then one of the bodies suddenly twitches. The cage doors begin unlocking one by one with a metallic echo through the tunnel. Whatever powered this facility is failing fast. Survivors move quickly past the cages before the mechanisms fully release. Behind them, the first door swings open. They push through a steel bulkhead and enter a vast underground chamber filled with rows of heated containers. Inside each chamber are newly infected bodies, pale and unmoving. The veteran studies the system gauges and realizes the horrifying truth. These weren't old infected wandering the island. They were freshly made. The containers were heating them artificially, aging their bodies to look like long-dead monsters. A hidden door slides open ahead, revealing an underground refugee camp. Dozens of empty cots stretch across the chamber floor. The woman with the burn scar realizes the island's true supply chain. People were brought here under the promise of shelter. None of them ever left. A sudden noise ripples through the tents behind them. Figures begin standing up from the ground between the cots. The entire chamber erupts with movement. The group slams a heavy maintenance door behind them, barely holding it shut. The man with the beard suddenly bolts down the hallway alone. The veteran watches him disappear and makes a quick decision. He orders the others to run for the upper tunnel while he holds the door. Reluctantly, they obey. Moments later, the door bursts open behind the veteran. The survivors climb a narrow stairwell toward the surface. A timer display flashes on the wall above the exit hatch. Automatic island destruction is less than 30 minutes away. The hatch finally opens into the resort's empty main lobby. Bodies and broken furniture cover the once pristine hall. The bearded man suddenly reappears ahead. Blood runs down his sleeve from a hidden bite. He hands over his weapon without a word. Seconds later, a single shot echoes through the empty lobby. She runs toward the emergency exit corridors as distant explosions begin rumbling beneath the island. A wave of infected pours from the building behind her. She sprints toward the cliffs as the island begins tearing itself apart. Another blast collapses part of the resort behind her. With nowhere else to run, she climbs the final guard rail. The infected reach the path seconds behind her. Another explosion shakes the ground under her feet. She jumps into the ocean just as the island erupts behind her. The island burns as waves swallow the last survivor. 3 weeks later, the world believes the island incident ended with total containment. News broadcasts replay the explosions that erased the resort from the map. Across the ocean, the burn-scarred woman appears on a live interview explaining what she saw beneath the island. She describes the underground chambers and the people who were turned into targets for profit. Governments deny the accusation almost immediately. Officials insist every infected body was destroyed when the island detonated. But the veteran watching the broadcast knows explosions rarely solve everything.